going on, everybody? Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of the TypeAlias Show live stream. Today, we're going to focus on Koin, which is a popular dependency injection framework for Kotlin. We're going to learn about some of its latest updates and tooling, and we're going to see how the Kotzilla platform takes things even further. As always, with me today behind the scenes is my lovely producer, who also happens to be my wife, Elizabeth. Round of applause for the producer. Now, my favorite part about doing live streams is the chat. So if you all are watching on YouTube, you can hop into the chat there and say hello. Or if you're tuning in from LinkedIn or X, just add comments to the video there, and those will show up for us as well. And you're also encouraged to chat with one another during the show. If someone asks a question and you know the answer, feel free to reply to them. We're all Kotlin enthusiasts here, and hanging out in chat is a big part of the live stream experience. So go make some friends. All right, today we've got two special guests joining us, and since we've got so many things on the agenda, we're not going to spend too much time on news. One thing that I did want to mention just very briefly is that the Coroutines course, many of you know that I've been working hard to build that out over the past few months, and it's almost complete. There's just one more unit left for me to create, which means that early access is going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. So if you wanted to hop in on that while it's still early access, you can go to courses.typealias.com/coroutines and you can get more information about that. All right, with that, we are ready to jump into Koin and Kotzilla. And joining us today, we've got the two people who know Koin and Kotzilla better than anyone else in the world. So let's give a warm welcome to Arnaud and Miguel from Kotzilla. And I'm going to hit the applause button. There we go. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Thanks so much for being here today. See, Arnaud, you are the creator and lead developer of Koin and co-founder of Kotzilla, right?
Exactly.
And Miguel, you lead the product direction for Koin and Kotzilla?
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for being here today. And I'm going to guess that most of our audience probably is already familiar with what dependency injection is, but I've also noticed that a lot of developers kind of tend to miss the fact that dependency injection isn't like a kind of framework. It's actually more of a philosophy or a technique about how you arrange your dependencies and put them into your classes. And a simple rule of thumb for dependency injection might be that simply a class shouldn't construct the objects that it depends on, and that instead something outside the class should pass them in. And the dependency injection frameworks are there to really facilitate that philosophy, and a lot of them do them in just a little bit different ways. Lots of frameworks to choose from. So Arnaud, as we're kicking things off here, I'd love to hear from you about what really motivated you to create Koin, and what was it that you really envisioned for Koin that you didn't see, that didn't already exist in other solutions?
Yeah, sure. The story take place, let's say, in 2015 or 16, in between, before really having a Kotlin language as officially stable, but then already playing a lot with it. And at this time, I was working with an agency, and I was working with lots of startups. Then really having the hands on many mobile applications, being in touch with many other teams, etc. Then being in the ecosystem. But a regular thing about dependency injection was about having Dagger on top of Kotlin, even in 2016, was clearly something painful in terms of developer experience, clearly. And the Kotlin language clearly was offering a lot to the developers. Then this is where I started to propose something where, even at the beginning, the idea was something to having an external configuration being able to be trashed if it was not working at all. And also, I come from the backend ecosystem and Spring framework. Then Spring also is a big inspiration for me. And then finding somewhere, trying to find the peaceful way just to wire your components as you are doing in Spring, and then having fun. Only have that, and having fun with Kotlin and the dependency injection was clearly motivating me. Even the already existing solution at the time were not really satisfying me in terms of writing. Finally the challenge was I want to write the minimal things, then let me write you the plumbery, and then you will enjoy your journey with Kotlin then, and Koin. And then I started the DSL like that, benchmarking all the ideas and having open-minded with all the feedback. And then finally, it started like that.
Yeah, that's great. I think the like a lot of people might not know, for like when it comes to Android, Dagger was really developed because the limitations of reflection on Android, right? You got a lot of reflection-based DI tools, Spring being one of them, and so like not having that facility on, or not having a good version of reflection there on Android was a big motivator for getting it into the build time. But yeah, this is that kind of took it in a different direction, and Koin's been multi-platform for quite a while now, I think, right?
Since the beginning, yes. Since the beginning, since the language could open the possibility to have the multi-platform target, and I've been in touch with Kevin Galligan from TouchLab, where he was clearly keen of all the memory management and the native side, and then he came to me and said, "Hey, can we do something on Koin?" And then yes, and then at TouchLab they have all their quick start project using Koin. And you're right on the reflection thing, because it was the challenge trying to propose something and the DSL, because then it was a bit the opposite, that it was not to propose something that is annotated, but more in the Kotlin semantic way. Like, can we use something in the language that is fun to use, that can propose something else than just annotation? And then the DSL is clearly something that is natural in Kotlin, and then open you lots of capacity. And then the challenge was not to use any reflection at all, because Spring is just scanning class paths, doing reflection on fly, etc. Then on backend, that's okay. On mobile, especially 10 years ago or a bit less, it's not something you can really count on.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I've actually really appreciated about Koin is that, so like I said before, the idea of dependency injection is not really related to a tool so much. It's the philosophy of how you arrange your classes and pass in dependencies. And it's entirely possible to create your object graph simply by hand, right? I've worked on a number of projects where we did dependency injection, but we didn't have a framework for it. And we just created the objects by hand. And what I really liked when I first saw Koin, this is a long time ago at this point, but I remember thinking it's fantastic because it's a very lightweight DSL that I noticed is like, it just kind of takes some of the boilerplate out. So like you can really make it just your own, it's not that far from doing your own dependency injection if you want it to just be that. Like if all you want is to be able to just kind of create your dependencies and not have to deal with all the type references directly. You're using type inference to get all those things in there. And it really just kind of took some of that noise out and made it really nice. But I felt like it still kept the developers in the driver's seat, whereas some of the other DI tools that are out there, you have to get into like a whole world of annotations or conventions in order to get things to line up like you want. And it really ends up structuring, affecting the structure of your code, because now you have to kind of conform to what that framework expects out of you. But with Koin, I felt like I was still in control of how I arranged things and how I structured things. But also, I know it does a lot more as well now. You've got a lot of ways that it's become really powerful over the past few years. And one of the big things and this one comes up so many times, I had to bring it up, but one of the things that's come up a number of times in the past is people will comment on whether Koin is truly dependency injection or whether it's a service locator. And I thought just to kind of give everybody a little preview of what we're talking about here. So not everybody's going to know exactly what the differences are. But here I just did a very light sketch of two approaches to getting a dependency loaded into this service class. You can see on the left here, I've got a dependency injection approach. And here we've just got the constructor with the repository getting passed in. And then on the right, I've got a service locator approach where you have to actually call out to something somewhere. And typically it's a static reference to get the dependency that way. And so I was kind of surprised actually when this controversy, or if you call it that, first came up about whether Koin is dependency injection or service locator, because at the use site, like when I'm using it, it actually is just, we're just doing the dependency injection stuff, except in the cases where, like on Android, for example, when you've got a framework that manages the lifecycle of an object. So for example, like an activity on Android, we don't construct that ourselves. So we still have to have some way to use a service locator in cases like that. But I felt like it was doing, like it gave you both of those things. And so I was kind of scratching my head about like, why is it that people think this is a service locator? And I think I eventually kind of uncovered what they're getting at. It's not so much at the use site. I think it's more at the DSL where they're building it out. But I just want to talk with you about that because I know this one comes up all the time. So tell me a little bit about DI versus service locator.
Yeah, sure. But that's the real stuff. And this is where there is lots of misunderstanding also, because I believe your example is perfect and you really covered it in the good way. Most of the things you will write in Koin will look at the DI aspect as you are making constructor injection. Then you don't really question that when you are doing Koin. And the point where finally is making the innovation of Koin, really making the leverage of the Kotlin language to replace the @inject. And the fact that finally what people forget is that when you have your activity and your UI called by your Android system, finally Dagger is called for you and then is injecting the things for you. Where finally we are making a bit the other way to go, like we are making field injection with a service locator. This is the famous by inject that people think that we are using it everywhere, but not. I would say, and that's perhaps also somewhere where we are still looking at improving the documentation and the way we are helping people. Perhaps there is a bit lack of guidelines to help people about that, being sure that they don't use by inject everywhere in any nonsense way, because most of the time use constructor injection, you will use by inject or by view model in the place we can't really build things for you, and you have to be called back by the system. And to jump on that, what is really fun is that finally Koin came with the idea of by view model in 2017, super early, before Android and the Google team, the Android team of Google, really were designing the first view model API team. And then finally, a few years after, they adopted by view model in the same way. That means that finally it's not a so bad pattern for the Android community if Google designed it like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess it's even now, I'm trying to remember, is it now like by Koin view model or something like that, I think? Is that right? Or is it still? Yeah, okay. I was trying to remember because, I've had that where I've pulled them in both ways. And so let's talk a little bit about then, like one of the problems that I think people run into with their DSL is the idea, and one of the concerns, and it is a valid concern, right, is that when you're building out your dependency graph within the DSL and you're using type inference to get things, it's possible that you could reference something that hasn't actually been added to that container yet, right? You could possibly reference a repository like I had that hasn't gotten an entry in that DSL. And so I think a lot of people want to try to, we want to try to push things out of runtime, errors out of runtime as much as possible and push them forward to build time and developing time and all that kind of thing, so that we discover these kinds of problems really as soon as possible, so that they don't end up getting out to the users. And so I know that was kind of a concern for a little while, but you guys have done a lot, if I understand right, you guys have done a lot to really give us options for how we can detect those things earlier. So tell me a little bit about those.
Sure. I would say the main philosophy of Koin, and you already started talking about that, is that Koin is a container, and it kind of, if you really look at it in a simple way, is like a meta index optimized for you to find things in a super fast way, like when you are having a lookup somewhere, it's taking less than 0.01 milliseconds or something like that. Then, in contrary to trying to have other technologies that are factory generator. Finally, the promise is that they generate the factory near to you. Okay, but then the promise of the container is to have clearly all the aspects of the DI plus all the dynamic aspect, which is then a concern for the compile safety, because then the DSL, even in the way that finally the first time we came to design the DSL, we got a lot of get. I don't know if you been in this DSL in the first version. It was manual, and this is where it was also a bit questioning people, where it was part of the question service locator vs DI, because then finally you have to wire a bit your configuration by hand. Finally, we made progress on the DSL to try to avoid such DSL description pain. But I would say the compile safety and the promise of Koin has always been to be super light, no compilation overhead, super light, and this is what just execute Kotlin function. Then in that way, we were looking at tools at the beginning to try to help you verify your configuration. This is where we try to sandbox your configuration, try to check things. This is let's say. In the DSL, we will try to cover, let's say, 80% of the case in most of the normal case, where all the dynamic case of Koin with the DSL, dynamic injection, and many dynamic behavior are super hard to catch up, because we don't know. We don't have any meta information from the DSL. Else, even it's it's really cost effective for us. Then finally, this is where people love the DSL, and we try to continue to improve it. And we know that in terms of other scale, for people that really wants to go at scale, at large scale, and have safety, full safety, this is where we begin to invest in kernel annotation and KSP. Mm-hmm. And then KSP processing, finally catch up all the annotations, and then check your configuration at compile time, and this is where you are guaranteed to be safe for that. This is where we clearly open the developer experience. This is where we focus bringing the developer experience with annotations, because finally this is where you have the best safety at scale. Mm-hmm. But we see lots of teams continuing to have the DSL and just to use verified. This is one of the API that it's just a JUnit you run, and it's running your configuration. It takes your DSL, checks things by reflection, but in JUnit. Then we allow ourselves to do a bit of magic after that. But yeah, this is where finally, from the pure runtime, where people keep that idea of Koin is just purely a runtime. It's optimized runtime, but then you have tools and choice for you. And this is where it has already been the philosophy of Koin. We give you possibilities, tools, up to you to choose what's the best for you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, having options is good. And the Koin plugin is one that, like, I think a lot of people don't realize is available. And I actually even hadn't used it myself until recently. So I'd love for you guys to maybe even do a demo on some of what the Koin plugin can do for you. Is that something you guys are up for?
Exactly. We have people in the team working on the plugin, and then the idea of the plugin was to say, okay, we can even improve the developer experience, and then make local static check to make you live safety checks. That means that we are making checks and understanding of your configuration before we compile. It's even more magic, but that's interesting. I believe, Miguel, we able to show a bit the Android Studio with the plugin, but then this is where the idea is really to catch up with the configuration tree in your IDE. Then you understand what you have declared, where is it, and then if you forgot something, we can underline you where you missed something.
That way you get like a warning in the IDE.
Exactly.
As you're typing. Yeah.
Exactly. Navigation, then you can really navigate to the declaration instead of having to navigate to an interface and go back to an implementation and having a bunch of clicks to go back to your definition here. We facilitate completely the navigation.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. So Miguel, if you are up for it, and if you want to get your Android Studio prepared,
Sure.
we can maybe or IntelliJ or whatever you got there, we can maybe pull that up once that's ready. And yeah, I'd love to see just a little bit of like what the plugin can do for us, and then also Kotzilla, I think, is another part of it that a lot of people aren't as familiar with.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think getting a chance to explore those things as well would be fantastic.
Sure. Let me show you both. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's see. Looks like we still need to get your you need to pull up the Android Studio on your screen, maybe. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Now
Yep,
you should
there we go.
my Android Studio. Okay, is that okay?
There we go. We got it. Yep. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm using Android Studio. As you mentioned, it also works with IntelliJ. I'm gonna demonstrate that using the official Google application, the Now in Android application. Of course, the one that we have migrated from Hill to Coin. I just wanted to mention for the audience that you can get the plugin, the Coin ID plugin directly from the JetBrains marketplace. So if you go there in the settings here on Android Studio and you type Coin, this is the only official plugin. So current version is 1.4.0, so you can install it and use it for free. You just need to create an account that is free to use. So this is what I did here, and as soon as you open your project, so the magic of the plugin is that it's gonna automatically discover your configuration. Here is what you have here on the Coin configuration view. Arnaud was talking about giving options and flexibility and freedom in Coin. So this is exactly also what we are providing with the plugin. You can use it whatever your project is using Coin DSL or whatever your project is using Coin annotations. And in both cases, one of the big advantage, not only the visualization of the configuration, is that we are going to be able to catch any compile time safety or compile time issue while you're typing. So actually we call it like a real-time checks because you can get them even before compilation time. No? So again, that's work for both DSL and annotation. In this project, I'm using the DSL, but you can test it with any annotation project. So one of the things that you can see here is that we are able to detect where your coin is initialized. So this is an Android application using Compose. So okay, in that scenario is directly my application class. If that was a Kotlin multiplatform, Compose multiplatform, that will be either in the shellcode or common main. Then what else? So here immediately you can see the list of different modules of your project. So that's kind of handy, especially when we are, we're getting a lot of good feedback from people doing like really complex applications with hundreds of modules. So it's really handy to have this visualization. Then you can navigate. So it's kind of a tree view. For example, here, the Now in Android application is for those that don't know the app, is actually helping you to get content, articles, videos that can be useful for Android development. So there is one of the main view models, which is the For You view model, in which you can select which is the content that you wanna visualize. So so we are able to detect the module. We're able to detect also the view model, and then you can also go through the different parameters. So you can navigate that way through the tree and discover the configuration. But you can also, we also added some kind of handy icons here to go directly to a declaration. So you can go to any declaration here of the dependency. You can also go to the usage where this dependency is used. So this is also completely integrated. And back to the discussion about can we also identify and catch configuration issues early. So for example, here I'm going to do something really simple, just commenting this, simulating that I'm forgetting to declare a dependency. And here, what we're going to have is that we should get immediately, a safety check in which we are able to say like, okay, something went wrong here. So you can get directly the issues in the tree view, but we also, to make it a little bit easier to manage, especially in big projects. So you have another view. So we have the coin configuration view, we have the coin insight view. And inside the coin insights, you can see, a list of all the configuration issues that were detected. So you can, directly have a look and try to fix them really fast. You will see that we are also adding, so this is pure static analysis. For that part, you don't need to configure an SDK. Everything is happening locally. We have even introduced some really nice features recently, like for example, to help you fix those configuration issues, we are also able to generate a prompt that you can run in your favorite AI coding assistant. For example, here we are having an issue, a context of the right context of the issue. Any different information that is going to be helpful for fix it, and then we are detecting automatically what are the different AI code assistants that you have declared. Or that you have installed, sorry, and you can directly, launch, execute this prompt in one of them, or you can copy paste it if you want. If we do something quick here, for example, I like to use Copilot, but again, that's working in different ones. I'm gonna just give here visibility of my project. I'm gonna just say here, okay, let's execute that. If everything goes as expected, it should. This one was easy because I just commented the line. But again, it needs to find the right place and analyze based on the context of the prompt. So we should get here analysis, and immediately we got here, the line that was commented. So we can, in that case, I'm using, the agent mode in which the AI coding assistant should automatically do the fix for me. But yeah, so I just wanted to, we'll see that as continue thinking a little bit, it's going to do the fix. But just wanted to mention that even to solve those configuration issues, we have integrated that into any AI code assistant. We have been discussing with a lot of Android developers, and actually almost 90% of the people we're discussing with are using those AI tooling. So we thought.
You say 90%?
90%.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got there were like, and even the people that were not using it, they told us that they were not using it for coding, but they were using it for generation of the documentation. So the big majority of people are using it. Some people are shy. Some people cannot even disclose it openly.
Sure. Yeah.
in the organization, but yeah, that's huge. And for the people that we were interviewing, number one AI code assistant was Copilot, number two was Gemini, and number three was Cloud Code.
Okay.
For the people that so here we see that that issue was identified, and potentially it can be fixed automatically. So here I can accept it, and in real time I see here that I don't have more issues anymore. So this is kind of the first scope of capabilities of the plugin: visualization of the configuration, navigation, and also detection, real-life detection of issues, and also integration with AI capabilities to fix it. And then we have a second part of the capabilities in which you can continue to use the plugin, but then connect it to the rest of the Kotzilla platform you were mentioning before. In that case, you need to configure an SDK. I can also show you that. And basically, this you are going from a static analysis to runtime analysis. And in that case, what we would like to provide is like a performance monitoring and crash reporting tool for people that are using Koin. Let me know if you want to provide more details on that and do the demo right now, or if...
Yeah, I think I would be interested to see that. I'm going to do a quick check-in on chat, and by the way, guys, feel free to chime in with your questions on chat. If you do have questions for these guys, they're going to be happy to answer them. So get your questions in there, and we'll be happy to take a look at those. Yeah, let's go ahead and just pull up a couple of at least a few small comments. We got here. Didn't know about the plugin. Great thing. So yeah, that is definitely good to know about. It's like one of those things that I think a lot of Kotlin and Koin developers aren't aware that there is a plugin for it. So that is great. And this is calling back to our discussion about reflection. But yeah, I guess with your native, like if you're targeting multi-platform and you've got an iOS target, for example, there's not really reflection available at all there, right? So yeah, so it's going to be a help there as well with Koin. Great. Yeah, again, in chat, feel free to add your comments or questions, and we'll get to those as well. But yeah, Miguel, if you're up for it, I'd say let's continue, and I'd love to see what else this can do here.
Perfect. So in that case, let me stay in. Perfect. Thank you. So let's go back to my Android Studio. We're going to continue using the Now in Android application. So you will see that this version is a version of the app in which we have intentionally introduced some delays, some latencies to show how we can identify performance issues and also crashes. And that's what I'm going to demonstrate. Now, first of all, wanted to also highlight that if you're using the plugin, we are also here automatically detecting if you have configured the SDK for doing performance monitoring or not. If you are not, if it's not configured, you can do the setup. Here in my case, it's already configured, but you will see that it's really straightforward. So in Android, for example, in Android app, you just need to call the analytics function during the start of Koin. So as soon as Koin starts, we're going to start capturing the data that we need to do the analysis and detect the performance issues. And then, if if you are really used to set up other SDKs, for example, a lot of people are using Firebase Crashlytics for crash detection. So the configuration is pretty similar, no? So you also, you need to define in your build Gradle file in root level the Kotzilla plugin. So here you have it here. And then again, this is an Android application. So inside the app, you need also to define the Kotzilla plugin here. And then as in the dependencies, the version of the SDK that you're going to use. In this particular scenario, I mentioned that this application is a compose application. So we have two different SDK. We have the default SDK that is not capturing compose events, and we have the compose one that is capturing all the events, and you can use also in a CMP application. No? So we try to always at Kotzilla follow the same path that Koin, in which we are really close to Kotlin. So we try to support all the environments in which Koin is working. So the Kotzilla platform is supporting all those environments. No? Then there is also a Kotzilla JSON file in which we are pretty similar to Firebase, also in which we are basically having all the information that we can connect with the servers in a secure way. No? So that's pretty much for the configuration. So let me just do a quick demo here in which as the SDK is properly configured, I'm gonna just probably need to do a build Gradle here. I'm gonna just create using the emulator kind of at the first user session that we can analyze. Here in this particular build, I'm using a debug build, but we always recommend to plug the SDK in production, because this is where usually you find the most critical performance issues, or the ones that are all impacting some of the devices. But here I'm going to use for demo purposes a debug build. No? So I'm going to create a user session. Hopefully that's going to launch my emulator. So here we have the Now in Android app. You see like it's taking some time. You probably notice here that we added kind of a 6.5 second delay. So this is why the startup is a little bit long. We wanted to simulate that. So this is the app. So as I mentioned, you have access to different content, so people can just click and browse the articles. I'm going to create some interactions, because what we want is to record a user session in which different actions were happening with the user. So then we analyze what happened there. So I'm going to click on the different views. We were seeing here before the For You view model that corresponds to this. So here I'm going to just click on another article, and I think it should be enough data here. So I'm going to stop. Okay, so hopefully the first user session was recorded. So actually 100% of the user sessions in the book are recorded. So let's see, what happened here and what was detected. I showed before the configuration issue view. Now it's clean because we fixed the only issue that we had before. But we also have an application issues view. In this one, there's a lot of issues here because we have introduced a lot of issues in the app. You have details of the different performance issues or crashes that has been identified in this user session or in previous user sessions. No? So for example, we are able to detect slow dependency resolution. We're able to detect components that are the resolutions that are blocking the main thread. We'll see in a second what that means. Same thing if you have components that are blocking the background thread. We can also see, as I mentioned, crashes, also slow app startups. And of course, you have a quick status, they're still open or not, and you have the number of sessions that are impacted. Let me show you some kind of handy things because we're still here in Android Studio. So for example, if I click in this particular issue, seems like something is going wrong here on the main activity view model. The resolution is taking long. So the good thing already is that when you click on one of those issues, we already open directly the component that is impacted. So it's kind of handy. You have here a flag to let you know that something probably goes wrong there and you need to explore. If you want to get more visibility, then is when we can interact with the rest of the Kotzilla platform. No? So double click here, bring us to the web environment. That's what we call the console, in which we are going to have more information and details about that issue. So still have here the component. We know exactly why this issue was flagged. It's because the resolution took more than 100 milliseconds. We like to say that, all those issues are not yet ANRs, because we all know that the definition of an ANR is like 5 seconds, but we try to anticipate those things as much as we can. And so we try to flag any resolution that is taking more than 100 milliseconds, because, it's already too long. So it's something that needs to pay some attention. No? For all the issues, we are able to propose you, like I demonstrated before, generate a prompt that can help you fix the issue. We can do it from the web environment or directly inside the Android Studio. So I'll show you that in a minute. And we also help you here to filter which user sessions are impacted. We see that this one that was created 3 minutes ago is the one that I just created. You see some other ones that I created before the live stream today. You can filter them by version of your app. You can filter also by devices. In this case, it's an Android application, but if it's a Kotlin multiplatform project, then you can have some sessions coming from iOS, some others from Android. So all that is unified in a single view. And then the thing is, like, you can potentially see what are the sessions that has a bigger impact. In that case, we see that it's consistent. So there is something really big here because we have a 1.5 second delay in the view, impacting the view model resolution. So you can click in one of those sessions to explore further. And this is when it really gets interesting. So here is what we call the timeline view. The timeline view is kind of all the information about one particular user session. So from the moment that the application was launched to the stop of the application. In this case was probably 30-40 seconds. The one I demonstrated can be way longer, and it's you can do an analysis based on different kind of information. First of all, we show you like what we call the key moments. So all the screen rendering activity, whatever that was using Compose or not. We also highlight you what are the performance issues. If we had crashes, we will also see crashes here. And then if you go down, you notice that here there is a kind of a filter that was applied by default. So as we were coming to explore that session from a particular issue, the session was already filtered into that particular moment because this is where the issue was coming from. No, if you were looking to the session, outside of the scope of an issue, then you can analyze the whole session, or you can change it here actually. Then some still interesting things here is, for example, we provide you a lot of information that is unique to your application using Koin. So for example, here there is a memory graph, which is specific to, what is the components memory usage, Koin memory usage, objects that have been created, the ones that were already in memory. For people that are using scopes in Koin, you will also see here if there are a lot of scopes that are open. So you potentially can identify some memory leaks that are related to scope usage, especially if you are managing scopes manually and you are not using like the automatic scope management of Koin. And then you have a similar thing here, but focusing on the threads. If your application is using multiple threads, so you can also see each one of those resolutions in Koin that are impacting your threading execution to identify if there is a problem. No? And then on the right, you have the complete sequence of events that were related to that particular issue. No? So you have a mix of information that are related to screen rendering and also DI resolutions. So for example, here, we immediately were positioned to, okay, this particular view model to 1.5 seconds. We can click here, we can have more information. For example, that's a factory. In that case, the dependency graph for that particular component was pretty straightforward, and you can see that all the dependency resolution were resolving pretty fast. So yeah, that gives you already a good idea of where the problem could be. So it's not related to this resolution graph. It's probably something that is happening in the constructor level. So that's something that already provides a really precise view. As I mentioned before, if we want to have the visibility of the whole session, so you can do that filtering here. And we can see, for example, that there were other issues. Just wanted to mention that you can have some other components in which the dependency graph is more complex, and that also can help you identify that there were some slow dependencies. No, so we are here. We know exactly how Koin works. So we wanted to build a platform that really gives you this level of visibility that you cannot get with other performance monitoring tooling. No, so this is really focused on Koin resolutions.
And these events on the right-hand side, do they include? Are these all? It looks like a lot of like application events. But I noticed you were also kind of saying when you were poking around in the app that you're like bookmarking and things like that to try to get some user events as well. Are those user events in this timeline, or is that does that go somewhere else?
Yeah, no, you have in the timeline here. You have those are the user events, the Android and Compose navigation events, and then all the other events are the resolutions on a specific resolution. So it's a mix of the two. So you can have a clear view. For example, you cannot actually filter. No, you can say I just wanna have a look to the Compose events in that particular session. It was pretty straightforward. So we see that at some point I was navigating to the For You screen. So you can only focus on those user events if you want, or combine the two. So let us go back to the Android Studio, because just in case you want to continue do the exploration and the fixes directly in Android Studio, we can proceed the same way. Let me close all those things, otherwise it's going to be a little bit too easy for the AI code assistant. So let me try to also get some extra help from either Copilot or let's try maybe Cloud Code to fix this particular issue. So the issue was main thread performance. So it was this one, the one that we're exploring. Same thing that we were doing before. Wanted to show you here a little bit how it looks, one of those prompts that we are generating. So the most important thing when we're doing a test on our site is that to make sure that we share with the prompt the right context. So we were doing a lot of back and forth and testing to see how it works. And here we found something that actually has good results. So we are providing info like, okay, what is the component, what is the issue type, what is the impact, and then of course a lot of information about the resolution, especially the dependency resolution. So let me just here send that directly to Cloud Code. So we are just executing that that prompt directly. Let's see what Cloud Code is able to find here. Hopefully that's visible for the audience. Okay, so something was detected. In that case, it was a heavy one, a thread sleep of 1.5 seconds. That's why we got that delay. And we know exactly what it was. It was an on-post init method call. And of course, it's going to propose automatically, a fix for that. No, but just wanted to also illustrate that, we can use prompt AI generation for fix those performance or issues that are more related to runtime analysis. So yeah, that's kind of a quick illustration of how you can connect the SDK directly in the Koin plugin, and then how you can use the console to explore a little bit further what is the root cause. Of course, there are plenty of other capabilities in terms of dashboard, prioritization of issues that people can find in the console to help you really focus on the issues that matters most first, and then potentially go into some others that could impact future maintenance of your application. No? So we have different views to make sure that you can focus first on critical issues, and then, for example, that you can then work on any other issue detected by the platform that are less of a priority.
That's fantastic. Yeah, very detailed information, very detailed instrumentation that you got going on there. And yeah, so let's check in on a few questions, because I do see we got a few questions that have come in. And so I'm going to pull up this one first, asking what happens with the data that we're sharing when we're using the platform for runtime analytics. So I'm guessing this is about like data privacy and things like that.
Yeah, that's a really good question from Florian. We got that question often. So so we have a dedicated, actually I'm going to share that in the chat as well. We have a dedicated article in which we are sharing in a really transparent way the data that we are capturing and analyzing. But long story short, this is pure metadata. So we are not analyzing your code. We don't have any visibility on your business logic. We just, as you mentioned, as you saw in the issues that we detect, we know that you have a view model that is called that name, and then we have all the info about the statistics of the resolution, but we don't have visibility on your code. And of course, any data that is sent to the server is encrypted. We are a European company, so everything is GDPR compliant. So no issue on that. Let me just share also on the chat directly the article, so Florian and others, you can go into details.
The idea finally is to leverage Koin. If you understand Kotzilla, finally we have the understanding of your architecture, and then we have the main vitals of your application. Then with the basic KPIs and the view, the navigation, we don't want to capture everything, because then it would be too much in terms of performance and too much in terms of data. This is where we are offering a first overview that gives you really a sense of where you might have issues, and as we are understanding your architecture and your structure in terms of just metadata, class, factory stuff, nothing sensitive, then clearly we can help you on that. And this is the idea of Kotzilla, clearly leveraging Koin, the DI, and the architecture world for you then.
Fantastic.
Not
all right,
sure.
we got... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was not sure how I can post that on the chat. I see the chat information, but I don't see where I can post on my side.
Yeah, that's fine. I think it doesn't... I think I've got to be the one to pull it up here, but we can run to this one here from Alberto. How does the new experimental Koin startup feature work in 4.0 now that modules are not created in the application classes on Create?
Yeah, it's on a dedicated component. Still experimental, because we need really still feedback on that, and we may have other good solutions as delegating module loads on a different thread to avoid blocking the main thread at start and then having callback on Koin. And there is those lazy module strategy loading. And the Koin start is a component that is based on the Android X startup component, that is more like on the Android X OS system to optimize the startup processing. Then it's optimizing what you load in between all the SDK you are using. But even you can do more with some lazy module strategy. We are working on that to continue improve the performance at start. Yes.
Fantastic. Let's see. You got another one here. Is it possible to have a full local solution passing by your solution hosted on our servers? So I guess is that maybe it's asking about like a hosted solution for like the Kotzilla data, like as you're sending things over the SDK. I think maybe that's what that is.
Yes, like on premise solution. We are basically cloud solution for now, but we are looking at who is using what in terms of solution and deployment. And yeah, if people are interested, they can contact us directly for that.
All right, great. And let's see here. I don't remember if we got this one before. Asking how can Koin automatically discover and load modules from multiple project modules in a Kotlin project, I guess, and what patterns or features does Koin provide to structure module dependencies and avoid duplication?
Big question. It depends. At start by the DSL, then you link things manually. Then there is no discovery, I would say, but more in the last coin rotation things, you can have something called add configuration, a bit inspired from Spring, where you can tag modules, and then you have a coin application entry point where then it scans for things for you. Then you don't have to specify manually the modules you want, and then it's really located for you. And the thing then Koin is flattening your path, then optimizing all the paths and then all the modules for you. Then that's already an optimization ask from the community since a long time, and it's there since 2 years, I would say, at least. Then trying to optimize. This is our burden, let's say, optimize completely the runtime, the engine, the loading, the way we are loading modules. And then coin annotation come with the power of annotation, then we can really scan even more things because DSL can't allow you to scan in your module.
Great. Okay. And I think we're almost up on time, but let's just one more here asking support KMM, please, maybe Swift code. I don't know. That sounds pretty tough to me, but I know it's already multi-platform. So I guess if you're doing like a compose multi-platform app, you're good to go. But Swift, yeah. I don't know how you'd quite make that happen. I don't know. What do you think?
Then in vanilla KMP it's a bit tough because you don't benefit from the latest JetBrains and Google API like lifecycle and this kind of stuff. Compose multi-platform is really a game changer. Where finally your UI can be can be Android, iOS, desktop, even WASM for those who are making WASM. But then that's a game changer because then you have a unified experience, and we see with Swift UI that there is converging patterns in the ecosystems, and that's interesting. The other interesting part is that even Compose multi-platform allow you to really unlock, to go back to Swift UI if you want, and then call the part of Kotlin you want. Then you are quite weapon with that. And then from the iOS Swift world, you can really pass object also to Koin, and then you can register a Swift object to Kotlin. The best is to use common contract like a Kotlin interface, this kind of stuff, where dynamically you can declare things in Koin, and then you can be bridge world in between Swift and your Kotlin application. Then you can't directly write Koin like you have the experience of Kotlin into Swift, but you can really drive Koin from Swift with a few tricks. And there is sharing patterns that we have on the documentation.
Okay, great. I have not seen that myself, so I'll be interested to pull that up and take a look. All right, and let's see. All right, we'll we got I got one more here that slid under the door just as it was closing. Whoops, no, that's not it. Let's see here. This one here. Yeah, says after years of maintaining Koin on your own time and effort, do you feel like it's been worth it?
That this is where after years of maintaining free open source project, then you need to find something that will help enterprise and make you raise something more than just free work for everyone. Then, yeah, that's our mission here, to continue what Koin does for open source, but for the enterprise.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think the what you guys are doing has been great. I think your open source software, I think is always valued, but never. It almost seems like it never really appreciated for the effort that goes into it. So from everyone in the Kotlin community, we'd like to thank you, Arnaud, for all of your hard work on Koin over the years. And I pulled it up the other day. You've got well over 1,000 commits on the project at this point. So a lot of hard work that's gone into that. So thank you so much for that. And with that, we're really right up on time. So that's about all we got time for. Where can folks go if they want to learn more about Koin and Kotzilla? Guess you got insertcoin.io, and then Kotzilla is at Kotzilla.io. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. Kotzilla.io for the main platform website, and insertcoin.io for the open source documentation. And you find on GitHub easily if you have any issue, you have the GitHub community, the Slack, the Kotlin Lang Slack channel, and you can contact easily people at Kotzilla if you have any problem, any needs or any idea about Koin and Kotlin. Globally.
Okay, great. We'll add a few of those links also to the descriptions and comments under the videos for the live stream so that everyone can find those easily. And with that, we'll say farewell to Arnaud and Miguel. Hey, thanks again so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you for inviting us.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I have enjoyed using Koin for quite a while myself and getting some more of the backstory on it. And even seeing some of the new capabilities that they're introducing is really pretty exciting. So I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. And if you did enjoy it, by the way, do hit the like button. We are trying hard to reach a lot more Kotlin developers like you, and that would help us make a big difference there. We're going to be back in mid-November for another live stream. And also, once I've finished building out that Coroutines course, we'll get back to a more regular schedule for like the normal videos as well. I know a lot of you have been asking about those too. So we'll have those coming up for you here soon. But in the meantime, I appreciate you hanging out with us today, and I'll see you next time.